All right. Special council meeting for tonight. Called this meeting to order. This meeting and all meetings of this council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the press in accordance with Wisconsin statutes, so citizenry may be aware of the time, the place, and the agenda of this meeting. We'll have a roll call.
Brunner,
Here.
Appleby,
Here.
Gunderson,
Here.
Rasmussen.
Here.
Edwards is not present.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start with Mr. Kelly has some handouts he would like to give us first.
I just want to go through the aldermanic selection process as I understand the council's determined to do it. And I just want to touch on the statute a little bit, kind of fill you in on the background of the selection processes. There really isn't much guidance in the statute. It doesn't say much. All it says is that the office of alderman, when there's a vacancy, is filled by the common council. It also goes on to say that that person will hold the office until his successor is elected. And then it goes through a bunch of different variations, and it talks about when the vacancy occurred. And for a vacancy that occurred at this time, if you choose to appoint somebody before April's election, this person will have to run again in April. Okay, that's just the way it works out under the law. Just so you folks are aware, and anybody who's interested in the position realizes they're going to have to run again in April. Just the way it happens to work out with this vacancy. The other important thing in the statute is the person has to be appointed by the council. Now, it doesn't say what the process is supposed to be. You can pretty much do it how you want. The other thing is there's no time limit set. It doesn't say you have to do it immediately, but there's a little bit of a trade-off because the person's only going to be in office for a while. So if you waited too long, it almost doesn't make sense to appoint somebody. So there's a little bit of reason to want to act fairly promptly. There's only about a 5-month appointment here before the person will be running again, assuming somebody runs against that person. Now, the procedure that you folks determined to do, and you do have the ability to determine how you want to proceed, as I mentioned, under the statute. Nothing really tells you how you have to do it. Is you went out and you asked people if they were interested in being on the council, that they should submit their names. And I understand 3 people have. And then you're going to ask them to make a statement to you to explain why they should be council members, I assume. I'll leave that to you specifically to say how that's going to happen. And then you probably would ask some questions if some come up, I'm assuming. So the Common Council is determined to let the candidates, if you will, come and make a presentation, then probably follow up with questions. This procedure is good because it's transparent. Everybody's going to see who you select. But there are some limitations on it, on the inquiries, that I want to make sure we stay aware of. We know, of course, that you can't make inquiries about age, race, creed, color, disability, marital status, sex, national origin, ancestry, arrest record, conviction record, military service, all the things that are listed in the discrimination statutes. You can't consider those things at all. A classic example of a question that you run into from time to time that you're really not supposed to consider is the question, does your spouse approve of you doing this? Or how's your spouse, I was once asked, how's she going to feel about you being away at all these night meetings? That's actually not an appropriate question. You shouldn't be considering how, that's their determination, not yours, to make. And you shouldn't consider their marital status in making the decision. Little things like that can be very important. Shouldn't ask people questions about military service. And there's 2 kind of interesting things. Their use or non-use of lawful products off the employer's premise during non-working hours. I guess you're not supposed to ask them if they smoke. I don't know why that's in the law, but it is in the law. And then declining to meet or participate in political matters. You're not supposed to ask them about. These are kind of quirky things that worked into the law as a result of Act 10. So there's a number of things that we instinctively know we shouldn't be asking about. The primary ones are age, race, creed, color, disability, marital status, sex, gender. Other issues that you have to be careful about when you're talking to people, we've got to remember we're in a public meeting here. And we don't want to embarrass anybody. We don't want to damage anybody's reputation. If things come up that you think are important, we have the right to review things in closed session if you want to. Probably wouldn't be able to do it tonight because we didn't notice it, but we'd have a right to look into that if we wanted to go that direction, if something comes up that really bothers this body as things are going through. But I would suggest that you stay away from prying into background to large degree tonight, other than the things that probably will be opened up to you tonight. So I wanted to make it clear to the candidates that there will be an election again. And then I also wanted to say that we should be careful not to raise questions that raise the issues that we're not supposed to consider anyway. And then remember, you don't have to make the decision tonight. You certainly can too, but you don't have to. If there's something that you believe necessitates rescheduling to consider later. So those are the couple of things I want to put out there. Patrick, we talked a little bit about this. I don't know if there's anything you have to add to that.
I do not. I guess just the side note on the election or being up for election is whoever ends up getting appointed and quite frankly, anybody interested in running. The election would be either February or April, but the process begins in December with circulating papers to get nomination signatures. And then I would just point out that on the agenda, we do have an item to interview for Ward 1 alderperson candidates for the position. We have 3 candidates, Mr. Jim Bayman, Mr. Keith Najowski, and Mr. Jim Tolfa. We do not have an order pre-established. If you want to go in alphabetical order, that's fine. I think loosely we had talked about allowing 5 to 10 minutes per candidate to, as Mr. Attorney Kelly had mentioned, basically just tell us or tell the council about themselves and why they want to be selected or appointed for the position. After that, you do have a agenda item for a selection or appointment of a Ward 1 alderperson. The process for that would be a nomination. So somebody, after the 3 of them speak, somebody can make a motion to nominate one of the individuals. And then it would need a second, and then after any other nominations, then you would vote then. You don't necessarily have to discuss, you don't have to ask questions. The one area, as Mr. Kelly had spoken about a little bit, is, be careful. If you ask a question of one candidate, it's probably, as a matter of practice, just fair to ask it of all candidates. And then we also do have an item, if you do make a selection tonight, for an oath of office for whoever you vote and select to fill a vacancy. So other than that, like I said, we do not have an order pre-established. It's up to the council, or however you want to do that, and then we can get going unless anybody's got any questions on how the process works. Okay.
Yeah, to avoid the appearance of bias, probably a good idea to just start by alphabetical order.
Right.
It's as random as you can get, I guess.
Great.
Absolutely.
Okay, so if that is the case, then it would be Mr. Bayman, followed by Mr. Najowski, and then Mr. Tolfa.
Mr. Bayman.
I'm gonna jump on the camera if that's okay, just to make sure we got her.
Yeah, that's what that's for.
Are we ready?
He's gonna,
Are you talking?
gonna get the
Yeah, I'm
camera.
gonna move the microphone so that we can really hear what you gotta say.
Okay.
What's that?
Not
There you
that
go.
there's any pressure or anything,
Oh, no, Kelly.
For the folks at home.
Okay, well, first of all, yeah, my name is Jim Bayman. Most of you know me. Lived in Weyauwega here for pretty much all my life. My family moved here in 1953. Owned and operated Bayman's Foods for a good number of years. I worked at Bayman's Foods for a good number of years, 25 to be exact. Married my wife Betty in 1969. We were blessed with 6 children, 4 of whom still are residing in Weyauwega, raising their families here. I've been involved in the community in various aspects, be it Little League, basically tied to whatever my kids were doing for a good number of years. When I came back from the service in 1968, a couple fellows asked me if I would join the fire department. I did. Unbeknown to me, I would spend 42 years doing it, but I just retired from that 3 years ago. I liked being involved with the fire department, but I simply got too old to do the job, so I had to allow the younger guys to do it. But pretty proud of that service. A number of years ago, I was appointed to a member of the Planning Commission. I think I have about 20 years in on that at this point in time, and I like being involved there. I think I ask for your consideration because I believe that given the fact that I've been involved with government, be it the fire department and its operations, I was chief for a number of years and had to organize that program and see that it ran efficiently, and we did some very good things. Involved as a citizen member of the Recreation Committee for a few years. It just seems like the right thing to do. My mom and dad told me that I should contribute to the community if I liked it, and I do. And I've been here for 68 years. I like it. It's just part of me. And I've also told my kids that they should be involved in something to try to make the community better. So I had been considering running for this particular position. I was, like everybody else, quite caught off guard when Jim passed away, but I had talked briefly to him about the fact that I was considering running for that position. Because we're friends, I didn't want it to get in the way of our friendship. I guess I'd leave it up to you with any questions you might have. I do have some additional experience in that I happen to be the insurance agent for the city of Weyauwega for 10 years. And in doing so, I kind of learned how government operates and why it operates the way it does. I guess I don't have anything else to add.
Okay.
No questions?
No questions? No. Okay. John? Fine?
No, none offhand. Thank you, Mr. Bayman, and
Thank
thank you for your service to this community.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Keith Nadowski. I've lived in Weyauwega since 2010. Moved here just more as a whim. We found a house that we really liked. Looked at the community, investigated the community overall, thought it was in a very favorable spot to raise our children. We have 4 children. One thing that I'll bring to the table, I would say that's probably different than most people here, is that I haven't been a lifelong Weyauwegan. I actually grew up in Beloit, Wisconsin, and lived in Oshkosh for a number of years prior to moving here. I don't plan on moving from here. Enjoy the community, like the fact that it's a safe place for my kids to play. Had some community involvement with Cub Scouts and with my son in that, but wanted to really get more involved. That's why when the position opened up, I was intrigued by it and wanted to see if I could be a part of it. I have a background of supervisorial production, experience, budget management, spending accounts and managing different things like that. I think some of that probably ties to some of the items that you guys deal with. But I'm also looking to see what I can do to help influence not only my future, but my children's future and the future of Weyauwega. That's one of the reasons why I'm interested in it and the reason why I'm before you today. And I'm open for any questions if anybody has any.
Very good, thank you
Thanks
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you for your interest.
Greetings. My name is Jim Tulsa. As you know, I'm Vice President of Weyauwega Lake Restoration. As far as my background goes here with the city of Weyauwega and people around me, well, I know Mike Kempf in particular since we're 16 years old, as far as my hanging around town goes. Prior to my retirement in 2009, I was on the executive board for the Local 781 for 17 years. In District Council 7, I represented 1,100 people, negotiated 5 major contracts in the state. I know what it's like to negotiate with millionaires and how to get a fair wage, but by the same token, being fair to the employer. I learned the power of compromise without impasse. I love Weyauwega, and I've been working here for years for the betterment of the community. I know how to work in harmony with people, and like I say, a lot of things that I particularly didn't care for would be better for the membership and for the betterment of the community. It doesn't necessarily has to go one way. You got to find middle ground, and I learned how to find middle ground through the years. And I'm still active with DC 7 and Local 781 and with Weyauwega Lake Restoration. We just planted 2,500 fish 4 days ago. I was going to drop that paraphernalia off for Pat Wetzel here, but you can bring it up on the internet. It's on Facebook. So that's my presentation. I love the town. I've been here all my life, most of it, and just want to work in harmony with everybody, and hopefully we can get something done, find some middle ground. Any questions?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time.
Kelvin said we don't have to pick it tonight, so you guys, how you want to go about it?
Well, first I'd like to thank the 3 candidates that wanted to participate and take advantage of this opportunity and contribute to this city. Thank you very much for all 3 of you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
How would you like to continue?
I guess I'll leave. Does anybody want to make a motion? Does anybody?
I'd like to make a statement. Mr. Majalski, am I saying that correctly? Majalski. One of the reasons why I too decided to take the responsibility of this honored position as well was exactly the same reason that you just said. I was fortunate enough to raise my children in a safe environment in a very nice community. And I thought it was my way of trying to pay back for the the gratuity that I feel the city gave my family. In view of that belief, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Keith.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Ask if you've got any other nominations.
Any other nominations?
No, I guess
Under discussion yet, so we make nominations, but that, it's not like we're voting tonight, correct?
no, there's a motion.
You are,
Yeah, this is asking for
As-
action.
as it is your,
Nominate, yeah. That's what I was wondering. So we have a second on the nomination, and then we can nominate after another.
Sure.
after that whole thing.
no, you can nominate right now if you would like to.
Can make another nomination now. I thought it would have to go through with a vote for that. I'd like to nominate Jim Tulsa.
Okay. We have a nomination. Do we have a second? If we have no second, then it does not carry over. I'll ask again, do we have a second? Okay. No second. Any other nominations?
No.
Okay. We have no other nominations. And then we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions or comments with that motion? I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
This is on Mr. Nadowski.
Yep.
Yes.
Brenner,
Aye.
Appleby,
Aye.
Gunderson,
Aye.
Rasmussen.
Aye.
Okay. Here's number 3. So the next, and thank you guys for coming. And I will ask now that we do the oath of office for the newly appointed Ward 1 alderperson. If Pat has that.
Yeah.
May I say you had 3 really good candidates?
Yep, I think you did.
Absolutely. I think probably got a good choice, and my congratulations.
We'll have, if you want to come up this way. We'll have this sheet. And, okay. Thanks, John. We'll come over here. And then if you just want to raise your right hand, start with I, insert your name, and then read off.
I, Keith Nadowski, have been appointed to the office of First District Alderperson in the city of Weyauwega, Weyauwega County, swear that I support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you'd like to fill out your name here,
Yeah.
and then sign at the bottom here. And then you can take a seat right up there.
Congratulations, welcome.
I'll let you shake the important people
Yeah.
first.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Yep, right there would be good. Very good. Thank you, sir.
Next spot.
Have a seat.
You can read this ordinance? You can read this ordinance?
No. No.
This is our agenda. I'll share my computer.
Oh my goodness, I don't even, you're the person that listed. I just realized I didn't have listed.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I should have known that.
We'll move on then to number 5, ordinance number 2014-2, and ordinance amending section 14-5, Planning Commission of the City of Weyauwega.
This is an ordinance, and it's just over a page long. Basically, to date, the composition of the Plan Commission has been, there's 7 members. There's the mayor, an alder at large, the chair of the Recreation Committee, city administrator, which is me, and then 3 citizen appointments. And in the time that I've been here, it's been, the membership or the makeup of that Plan Commission has been not according to the way it's listed in the ordinance. When we had Miss Allenstein as the chair of the Recreation Committee, she was not on the Plan Commission. I believe she had Mr. Anibus, who's a citizen member, had filled in for that spot. So technically we had 4 citizen members when we should have had 3. And Mr. Brunner was an alder at large. Now, in a way, we fixed that unknowingly with the new committee assignments that we did this spring, because Mr. Brunner was then reclassified or repositioned as the chair of the Recreation Committee, so we covered that area. We have 3 citizen members who attend regularly, and a 4th, I don't believe, has been at a meeting since I've been here, so about a year and 10 months, maybe 1 meeting. And then, of course, my position has been on the Plan Commission. I've been, after doing some research and discussing with Attorney Kelney, my role on the Plan Commission is as a voting member. And I don't have any other committees or commissions that I have that same role, except for the Ethics Board, which we had taken a action earlier this year to recreate that as a citizen-only committee. And for some of the same reasons that this ordinance is in front of you tonight. I can also tell you that one of my roles is as the zoning administrator. And in our code of ordinances, the Plan Commission directly oversees zoning administration and the zoning administrator. So if you look at it that way, I come to you and I come to the Plan Commission and recommend policy or recommend actions. But on the Plan Commission, I also have a vote. And because I'm the zoning administrator, technically I do that work. And I'm also, by default, sort of managing or overseeing my own work, which gets a little bit gray, I guess, to say the least. And in talking to Attorney Kelney, probably the best way to remedy that situation would be to replace my position either with another managerial or administrative employee. The only other one we have is the police chief. Or you could add a 4th citizen member. And in a way, we already have 4 citizen members on there. The ordinance that's in front of you basically, it lays out that same composition that I just mentioned, but then it reorganizes the makeup of that committee, takes me out, city administrator out, puts a citizen member on there. The reason it's before you tonight is with the TID creation and some other items coming up, it's probably important either to have the Plan Commission in place, in a place where you feel good about the makeup and the members. And that way, as we're looking at the TID, we're looking at conditional uses, potential developments. You don't have any potential conflicts that come up. The problem I can see right off the bat would be coming to you with an item or a recommendation in my professional role and then having to then vote, sort of get out of my role as what you hired me for and then try to take a look at whether that's good enough or not. You would think that those things wouldn't be different from each other, but sometimes just don't know. But in this ordinance, I should clarify, it says in here that the Plan Commission has reviewed this ordinance and this change and made a recommendation to the City Council. The Plan Commission has not, but I did speak with the mayor, who is the chair of the Plan Commission. So, one way or another, we need to make sure that we don't get into any ethical or legal trouble. So, the ordinance is in front of you tonight to change the composition. If you feel good about voting on that, you can. If you do not, I can probably tell you that next week as we start to set up the TID, the TIF, I'm probably inclined just to abstain so that we stay clear of any issues. So either tonight we could vote on it or we could run it through the Plan Commission for their review. It's up to you guys, but just so that I clarify that in the ordinance it says that the Plan Commission has reviewed it, and I'll just tell you that they have not.
Let me explain that a little bit. Oftentimes, you're going to find that the ordinances that organize the Plan Commission are actually in the zoning code. And the zoning code has to be referred to the Plan Commission and then back to the Common Council for review. There's even public notice procedures. For whatever reason, when Weyauwega put their code of ordinances together, they had a separate administrative position where they put how you set up all your committees in one place. Although we still have to rework some of those. But most of them are in one place. This is one that's in that one place. It's a general ordinance. Now, a general ordinance does not require all the hoops that a zoning ordinance does. Doesn't require you to go to plan, doesn't require a recommendation, doesn't require action on that recommendation. So you can act on it in one night if you want. On the other hand, you're talking about the composition of a committee that's been together. Oftentimes, you're going to run it by that committee before you change it. You know, if you feel that the committee would want some input, I can't say I'm familiar enough with the Plan Commission. I haven't even met with them yet to know how they would feel about it if you guys just pass. That's up to you guys. But you do have the two options, and either way, you're going to be changing a general ordinance, so you're okay. The only thing I'd advise, if you don't refer to Plan Commission, scratch out the notion that it wasn't referred to the Plan Commission. And you can do that by simple motion. Approve it without that section. Oh, the other thing, I have to agree with Patrick on the notion that there's an incompatibility concern here. You've got a Plan Commission that is assigned to oversee the zoning administrator, a role that Patrick fills, and that's inherently incompatible. You can't be your own boss in government, or you're not supposed to be. So that doesn't feel good. The other thing is, you have somebody who's putting the recommendation before the commission that they're going to act on. You kind of have one person that's a built-in vote. You're kind of giving up a little bit of the impartiality you'd like to see in a commission. So there's a couple good reasons that you'd probably want to make this change. It's, I think, more of a procedural issue of how you might want to do it. Is it illegal? Probably not. The law says you can do it. But I'll tell you, somebody could make a good argument that it's incompatible, and I'd hate to find out the hard way. Better to fix it before somebody raises that.
And I don't mean to skip ahead to the next item, I'll just make a quick comment. The next item, we did notice for the ability to make a potential citizen appointment to the committee. We do have 5 interested individuals, but we haven't selected one. And part of the reason, and I did talk to the mayor about this, about the 5 people that we have that had filled out those forms, the citizen interest forms earlier in the year. Part of the problem, like I had said, is technically right now you only have 1 alderperson or council member on the Plan Commission. So you're short 1 at-large alder, and you have 4 citizens where the ordinance only prescribes 3 right now. Now, for the one that hasn't been able to attend meetings, you do have an ordinance that allows you to review attendance, to be able to make a motion and, you know, I don't want to say it to sound harsh, but to terminate, I guess, that appointment and appoint someone new. So in a way, you could, if you pass this ordinance, you would have me off. You might be looking for 1 or 2 citizens. You might be looking for 1 alderperson, and potentially if you wanted to have an administrative employee, you might be looking for the police chief. So I think what we'll do is we'll go 1 step at a time, and it would be to look at this ordinance here, and then for the November 17th meeting, we'll look at, as the plan commission stands, where does it need to be filled, and who should be nominated by the mayor to be reviewed by the council. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
So questions, discussion?
Well, my question is to the mayor. As chairman of the committee, how do you feel about changing it without going to committee?
I don't think that would be I don't think the committee would have a problem with that. I really don't.
Okay.
I think they all know that, because we have had talked about there is one that has been short. So there's only been 2, maybe 3 that, the third one missed a couple because of work. But otherwise, there's been 2 that been there. My feeling is personally that, yeah, we pick another alderperson, and then we would need to pick 1 citizens member now, and then I think we need to find out about the other citizen member, whether he wants to stay on it, or if he does not want to, because he's only attended, in the last year and a half, he has only attended 1 meeting.
Does this language allow us, or allow you to have an alternate as well on your committee? When the attendance issue comes up, is there another person that can fulfill and represent?
We do not have that in our ordinance, but you can have 1 person not in attendance and still have a quorum.
Yeah.
And as long as I've been here, I don't think we've had an issue with getting a quorum.
Right.
Does that
You
make
could have
sense?
2.
So we could still have a
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Yeah, you could actually have 2, I guess, because it's a 7-person.
Yeah.
If somebody was interested in moving this ordinance forward at this body, the appropriate motion would be to move to approve of the ordinance amending section 14-5 Plan Commission as amended by deleting the words "upon the recommendation of the Plan Commission" as stated in paragraph 3 of the recitals. That eliminates that reference to the Plan Commission. Everything else would then read fine.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll make a motion to approve that with everything you just said.
So you're making a motion to approve the ordinance
For the
amended section 14-5 Planning Commission of the City of Weyauwega
With removal
with the
of-
removal of upon the recommendation of the Planning Commission.
Absolutely.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Or concerns about the amendment of the ordinance?
If this passes, as we've just made a motion for, someone explain to me what the next step is then?
Yeah. If you pass it as it's presented here, you would take the city administrator off. And what that leaves you with is the mayor, a council member, the Recreation Committee Chairman, which is a council member, that's 3, and 4 citizens.
4 now.
4 citizen seats, I should say. You'll have 4 of them filled, and then you would be short the alder person then. So taking the city administrator off, you need an alder person. Now, so for number 6 then, the next item, it's on the citizen appointment. So technically, we don't have it noticed on the agenda to appoint an alder.
No, but we can discuss potential candidates, can we?
You could.
And you have some candidates to share as well?
We have 5. And the goal, I believe, when we put together that list and when the mayor made the appointments or recommended and you voted on them, was to try to eliminate duplication if you could, try to get more people involved. 2 of them interested in the plan commission, you had appointed to committees already. So there's 3 technically that are out there then. But I will notice or let you know that none of them have been contacted to gauge their interest this time around. So what we're going off of is their interest back from March, April.
From our survey. So my thoughts are is that I would contact them, let them know that an opening has come, and see if they are still interested in accepting that role.
Okay.
And then at the next, our council meeting, then we would make an appointment at that time for that.
And there's 2, as I see it, there's 2 ways this could go. Just by taking me off, so as a direct result of this ordinance, you're short an alder person. So that's one item to be addressed.
Right.
The second one would be, okay, you have a 4th citizen member, but their attendance hasn't met or potentially hasn't met what's been set out in the ordinances that says, and off the top of my head, I'm not sure because we haven't talked about it, but I think it's every 6 months you can review attendance, and it's either half or 3/4 of the meetings that they need to be at. And I know this year they haven't been at one, so that standard isn't met. So
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
immediately you're short an alder person. The second item would be, you have a 4th citizen member, what do you do with that? And those are 2 issues that we could take up at November 17th, which is the next regularly scheduled council meeting in 2 weeks. That shouldn't be an issue.
I think
Yeah,
that's what
we
I
wanna
would,
do that.
I would like to contact that gentleman to see if he is interested, or if something just has made a turn that he's not attending them. And then at that point, make contact with the ones we have on the list and let them know that there is an opening, and if he decides that he doesn't want that position, then we would make 2 out of the 3 that we would get for that.
You'd probably look at one, and then the other would be an alder person. Because we only have,
Right.
you're supposed to have 2 alders, and you only have 1 right now.
Right, we still have to have an alder, but if the other one doesn't want to fulfill that position, then we need 2 alder people.
Nope.
2 citizens,
2 citizens.
Yep.
2 citizens, excuse me, yeah.
because you'll need the
So
new
we would
one.
we will need a citizen and an alder person. Right now, we need an alder person
Just
and
one.
1 citizen.
Nope, just 1 citizen, because the plan commission has had 4 citizens, even though it's technically only supposed to have 3. Does that make sense?
No, it says on here it says 4.
It would go to 4, and you already have 4 that are appointed that have terms right now. So before, we were only supposed to have 3. We had 4 because, I'll just say the name, Bob Anubis was attending, as far as I've known, in lieu of the Recreation Committee chair. So the chair of the Rec Committee sent Bob Anubis as a representative of the Rec Committee, that was before I came, so I'm not sure how that all started.
Well, that was one of my appointments when I did it, because Bob didn't want to be on.
We renewed his term, I
Yeah,
believe.
he didn't want to be on the other committee, so he asked to renew that term.
Yeah, so technically you've had 3 regularly attending,
Yeah.
but you had 4 that were on the list.
That were appointed.
Does that make sense? Not really, but does it make sense as, you know?
It
it's-
wasn't copacetic with the ordinance the way it was drafted, but that's
That's
all
why
we're
there's an
doing.
ordinance in front of you as the first step in
Cleaning it
clearing,
up.
yeah.
Right, so we have Bob, Steve, and Jim, 3 citizens,
And then the fourth, Tom.
right.
And according to ordinance, your minimum requirements is 2/3 of the meetings each 6 months.
That's what it is, yep.
Right.
That's if you decide you wanted to review it. Now, I think we talked about that earlier in the year, but we never
Right.
actually brought it out and said, well, let's take a look at that.
So right now, we're really looking for is an alder person,
Yes.
and then
And you will check with,
check to see if he wants to continue. If he doesn't, then we need to appoint somebody.
Yep.
So then, them appointments were really, at this time, was nothing for the people that we
For
had
the-
on the list.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I think what it is it's if the one that you contact doesn't want to be interested. I'll just tell you, we've contacted for the meetings and we haven't heard anything at all.
Okay.
So, does that answer your question? As a result of this ordinance, you need one alder person to be appointed.
And in view of that, I'd like to throw out there for the mayor's consideration, Mr. Nadolski. Did I say that right? Yes.
Oh, I think first we gotta,
Can we do that?
Well, we'd have to vote.
For
on-
consideration,
Well,
what
it's-
I'm saying.
You'd have to
Right.
vote on the ordinance first.
Let's,
and then-
let's take a look at the ordinance first.
The ordinance is on the table right
Let's
now.
get it lined up and then so we know.
The ordinance is on the table right now, so we have a motion and we have a second. Any other questions on the ordinance? We'll ask for a roll call.
Nadowski? You vote aye or no, so yes or no on the
Okay,
ordinance?
aye.
Aye. Rasmussen?
Aye.
Gunderson?
aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Brunner?
Aye.
That motion passes with 5 ayes.
And now,
I will, just for Scott, for your comment,
Yes.
I'm going to, I have a couple questions about appointing for that position. I'd need to
No
know
problem.
first
Okay.
with Pat. But
Sure.
I will take it in consideration.
And I don't know if you'd want to refer to the city attorney because he's here, but on the agenda it says discussion and possible action on citizen appointment to the plan commission.
Yeah,
So
you
an
don't wanna
alder
do
would
that.
not be a citizen. So for tonight, I wouldn't anticipate that we would be.
No.
Probably good.
The intent was that we would make contact with the fourth that hadn't been attending, and I'll just say that we were unable to, so. We'll take a look at it over the next 2 weeks before the full council meeting.
Okay. We'll move on then to number 7, such other matters that is authorized by law.
I do not have anything else,
Okay.
but just to say the next item is a closed session, and we
Yep.
will not be, there will be no action in open afterwards.
We'll be moving to closed session then, to 19.85 Wisconsin statutes, conferring with legal counsel for governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategies to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which is likely to become involved in. The reason for the closed session is discuss pending railroad litigations. Council may choose to reconvene the open session at the completion of the closed session in order to take action on these items from closed session. But as Pat said, there probably will be no action. I need a motion and a second to go into closed session.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into closed session. Roll call, please.
And it's at 6:20. Brunner?
Aye.
Appleby?
Aye.
Gunderson?
aye.
Rasmussen?
Aye.
Nadowski?
Aye.
We are in closed
Thanks,
session.
Amy.